Hello, my beauties. I am Miss Carol. I am here with another video for you. I wanted to come on really quickly and discuss something very specific. I talked to my sister last night, and my sister is expecting her first baby. She is 37 years old. I'm 42. That means she's 37. This is her and my brother-in-law's first baby. She has had a phenomenal pregnancy so far. She doesn't know what she's having because I swore her to secrecy. I want it to be a secret. And so, she's had a wonderful pregnancy, but yet last night she was telling me she was feeling pretty emotional. And she was just kind of going back and forth between, I'm having this really great pregnancy, and me and Kenny, her partner, are getting along so well, but for whatever reason, when her highs are high and when she has her emotions, they are just as deep as well. So I don't know what this bug spray. So I had to remind her. I said, there is a lot going on in the world right now. And if you're not feeling anxious, if you're not feeling a little depressed, if you're not feeling a little concerned, if you don't have those kind of feelings coming up, that probably means you're not really paying attention, and you're either not paying attention or you're a little numb. Either case, I would cross the street if I felt that energy coming my way. Because my mom was a very smart woman when she said, when you see crazy coming, cross the street. So I just wanted to read a few stats to highlight this. And I literally just typed in stats about men. That's it. That's all I typed in. And it says life expectancy, mortality. Men's expectancy in the U.S. projected to be 74.8. Women's is 80. The gap is even larger for black men, who have a life expectancy of 69 years compared to 77 for black women. Leading causes of death for men include heart disease, cancer, unintentional suicides. Men are more likely to die by suicide, with the suicide rate 4 times higher than that of women. So those are just the first 4 stats when you type it into Google. So let's type in the same thing, stats about women. Very basic, nothing crazy. Okay, so the first thing that comes up is political representation. Strange. While women's representation in national parliaments has increased, it remains low, with only 27% of seats held by women globally in 2024. And then it goes on to say education, labor force, economic disparities, violence, health, gender pay gap, poverty. So it's quite interesting how the first thing that comes up for stats for men is life expectancy, and the thing that comes up for women, trends, key statistics, key trends, is political representation. So let's just kind of, the first thing that I saw is violence. A substantial percentage of women globally experience violence with an intimate partner, violence being a major concern. And I read somewhere, or I listened to a podcast years ago that said a woman's biggest threat is her partner, a woman's biggest threat is her husband. And that's still obviously true according to this Google search. Let's health. Women's health is impacted by issues like maternal mortality, access to health care, and reproductive rights. Let's go to, there's like more on violence, but I don't want to read that. I'll read a specific example about poverty. 1 in every 10 women lives in extreme poverty. And by 2030, an estimated 8% of female population will be still living on less than $2.15 a day. So that's in 5 years. So, okay, so that's women. Let's do for children. Children, can I spell? Okay, stats on children. Very basic, just a basic Google search. So the first thing that comes up are demographics, children of color, racial distribution, gender, total population, child mortality. In 2023, an estimated 4.6 million children died before their fifth birthday, according to UNICEF. Let's see, 7.3% of children aged 5 to 11 missed 11 or more days in school in the past 12 months due to injury, illness, or disability, according to the CDC. Poverty, the median estimated poverty rate for children between the ages of 5 and 17 in 2023 was 13.4%, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. So I'm reading these, what can be called generic statistics, to highlight a larger point. The larger point is that, and this is not even anything political, this is not even anything familiar. These are just general statistics, men, women, and children. And that is, again, not considering the trauma and the wounds that we are inheriting from children from their parents, from women from their partners, men from their work environments. I watched this really wonderful comedian named Bill Burr, and he had this special that I just watched on Hulu called Drop Dead or something like that, the Drop Dead Years. He said something about how all men over 50 are just sad. And it made me really sad, honestly, because a lot of the things that he was saying was really, I could really relate to as it regards to like the men that I'm dating. I'm 42. I date as young as, men in their early 30s to men in their, mid 50s. So I can definitely understand all of the things that he was saying about men just being sad over the age of 50. But again, I'm saying all those to say that there are so many things, even if you chose to focus on one thing, there's so many things going on globally that conjures anxiety, depression, loneliness. So you're not crazy if you're having those feelings. It's not the point that you have those feelings. The point is there have always been things happening on the positive polarity and on the negative polarity. And I'm looking out for my cat because he's like stalking me right now. So there's nothing wrong with you if you're having those feelings. We have deep, deep, deep wounds that we don't address. We don't address the woundedness that we carry from our childhoods, and then we go into adulthood thinking that they're just going to evaporate into thin air, which they don't. And then what happens? We get into our adulthood, and we find ourselves in romantic and sometimes sexual partnership with whomever, and lo and behold, obviously, those traumas make their way into the relationships that we find ourselves in. If you are in a heterosexual dynamic, that could mean you're then have the potential to bring a child into that circumstance. And now you have all these issues that were unresolved from your childhood. Now you're bringing them into your relationship, and then you are passing them on to your children, just because of the things that we are not paying attention to. There's nothing more important. There is nothing more important for you to pay attention to than the way you feel. I think people are confused when they categorize emotions. Emotions are not good nor bad. There's a wonderful quote by William Shakespeare. I can't remember what play it's from, but it says, "There is nothing good nor bad, but thinking makes it so." And I was always struck by that quote because it's very true. There's nothing that is one way or the other, bad or good, but it's what are our experiences, what are our emotions telling us that they represent. So there's a certain amount of analyzing of our emotions that's important. There's a certain amount of understanding the woundedness that we inherited from our parents in our childhood that's important, yes. There's a certain level of that. But you could spend a whole lifetime delving into attempting to understand why things happened the way that they happened, especially when you're talking about the relation between men and women. You're talking about the relation between, certain ethnic group and another ethnic group. You could dissect that from now until forever. But is that really moving the needle? Is that really causing the kind of change in your consciousness that is necessary for liberation and growth? At the end of our conversation yesterday, I told my sister, right now is there's never been a better time to bring a child into this world. We are more conscious than we have ever been. We are more enlightened than we have ever been. We are more seeking of knowledge than we have ever been. Not just seeking of knowledge, but having the actual practical tools to not just have that knowledge, but turn that knowledge into wisdom, because we can apply it. We know enough about ourselves and our wider community and our familiar lineage that we can actually apply this knowledge and turn it into wisdom. So when something happens, such as having the cops called on you by your roommate, which is a whole other story that I might tell one day, not once, not twice, but 3 times, you can sit with that and be non-reactive and look at it from a purely objective view. We need more objectivity. We need people who don't have kids to parent children who do have children, if that made sense. Sometimes I really do feel like I'm a better parent because I don't have kids, because I can be truly objective. I don't have any skin in the game per se. My only objective is to nourish a child, their own identity, as much as they were born with their own identity. It's my job to get out of that way so that can grow and come to the forefront. So there's never been a better time to bring life into the world. There's always going to be darkness. There's always going to be negative emotion. That's a good thing, because the deeper that you experience negative emotion, the depths of which you experience negative emotion, that is a reflection of the love that is abundant on this planet. You can't have one without the other. There's another quote that I love. It says by Einstein. He said, the most important decision we will ever make is whether we believe we live in a friendly or hostile universe. Based on that premise, you can have your life go one of 2 ways. And it's your choice, because that abundant love is there regardless. The sun is going to come up tomorrow, hopefully, regardless. So there's nothing wrong with you. Anxiety is okay. That means that you're paying attention. That means that you are awake, that your consciousness is going, oh, Coco, don't bite on that. Oh my gosh. Coco. That means your consciousness is deepening. That means you're awake. So if you find yourself in these moments of anxiety, fear, loneliness, that's okay. Let it happen. Know that it's just temporary. And everything's going to be wonderful. Everything's going to be great. And hopefully that made sense. If it doesn't, I'm still practicing at this. I'm still deepening my practice. But I will continue to show up for you.